Dolores gets to go to the next one. I do meet with the Schulenburg and LaGrange, and then last time we invited Russell to Fletcher, but he didn't stay long. Just because I kind of consider them sister cities. That's
Apparently she's been through the deal, done grants.
all right. Let me get myself squared away here. Dolores is crowding me up over there.
I know.
You are not, Dolores.
I feel like I am.
Hey, Mr. Marshall.
Are they,
David, I think you need these. Yeah.
Let's go look and see what that's
Yeah.
Doesn't look bad for a woman to be a city manager over there. Kind of looking at that.
Kind of looking at that.
all
now.
possible.
Plenty times.
Interim miss.
Well, no, I'm just kind of like, it's just different, but I'm like, it's not, that's not
Different.
out of the norm. I mean,
No, it's,
there's
there are
women
quite a
out there
few
that can handle
now.
that job too.
Thank you for your coverage on the Tuesday. That was
We're trying.
very pro, yes. Yeah.
I said,
Last
what
minute,
Marvin's
too.
in there when you need him. He had at least one letter saying, give us the scoop.
Okay, you were very positive with stuff. I appreciate that. It's just a step I wish we could all go.
scoop didn't turn into a scoop,
Nope.
more like a poop.
Backward, push. Push.
Oh, Lordy.
I got entirely too many papers.
We do, don't we? Because
I
it's
left half
confusing,
of
all
mine.
the papers.
Okay,
You're gonna get more when we go in there, by the way.
Well, I left,
so this track is, okay, so there's catfish right there, right? So that's headed towards the interstate?
Right there behind the hotel.
And yours is below you.
Yeah. Mine should be probably somewhere. Oh, further back.
And yours is below the, yeah, this heads toward the interstate. Well, yours is just below the,
Mine's just below that.
What are
Broman's,
you looking at? Oh,
Who's looking at?
Broman's deal
No,
down
no.
there. I was just
I
making
tried
sure,
to put some of that back there.
making sure I understood where all this location was.
those two houses over there really look, they look different. I mean, it kind of makes things, before it was just pasture.
Dress in the mud.
Looks good.
Now it looks good.
He's trying to clean it up.
Good.
Good afternoon.
Good. I don't taste any chlorine. Is that bottled water?
They found it on the web.
That was the answer.
David.
I have mine's filtered water from my house.
I know you're not supposed to reuse your bottles, but that's what I do.
I do.
Fill my bottles back up with tap
You
water.
ready to get started, because we're
Put 'em
gonna
in
probably need
cold,
the
yeah.
entire hour. Okay.
Well, let's go.
Go.
Okay.
Ready.
Ready?
I'd like to call the meeting to order, the budget workshops, Thursday, July 13th, 2023 at 3 p.m. First of all, I'd like to thank all the folks that are here to observe, participate. Don't think our PR person made it for this meeting yet, so you'll understand that later. Okay, Dolores, I'll call the meeting a pledge of allegiance, if everyone will stand with me. Oh, we don't have to do that budget. We're good.
I was gonna say, when are you changing all this up? We're gonna do it twice.
All good. Dolores,
Let's
I'll
go.
turn it over to you and David.
David, you can start. He's gonna go line by line with y'all, so, yeah.
David, do you want to come sit up here?
I think you should sit up there, David.
So if y'all look at this packet, this is budget workshop, number 2,
Well, I don't have that.
and then this. So,
I have one that says proposed annual operating
That's
budget.
it.
Oh, okay.
Roy, did you find yours?
I don't have one.
Yeah. Here's the extra.
All that paperwork and you don't have what you need.
I don't, I got,
Down in there somewhere.
Let's see if we put it in the resumes. Nope.
All right, so I guess,
All right.
in the big packet, we'll go to page 2. We could just look over the electric rates. As proposed in the ordinance, they increased by $1. The base charges. For the meter charge, I should say. And then we could skip to page 4.
Nothing on 3 that you need.
It's just a summary, I mean, we could look at that real quick.
Oh.
It's pretty much balanced for this year. It shows revenues 278 over expenses.
oh, that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah,
correct.
if we can get it within $278.
I'll be, yeah, we'll be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a summary of what we're about to look at?
Yes, exactly.
Now you're,
Page 4.
okay.
So page 4 is the revenue section.
And this is in the electric fund, right,
This
David?
is just the electric fund. So we'll do the electric fund, and then we'll do water, sewer, move on to equipment and capital improvements. So in the electric fund revenues, projected, I think it's projected here around 400,000 higher than last year. The second column from the right are the actuals through May 31st. And obviously, we're into the heat of the summer, so that should increase over the next couple of months.
Is that increase because of our increase in charges, proposed increase in charges? Is that 400,000?
For next year,
Mhm.
that'd be part of it. Also, just try to project weather patterns and things like that also. And usually the city manager goes to rates and resource meetings. And none of us have involvement in that, and it's really kind of the sole responsibility. I guess, right, Dolores, is the city
Right.
manager does that. So there's some things that we don't know as far as the rates.
So they may be anticipating a rate increase.
Yeah, so that's some things that we don't know that are incorporated in here. But yeah, weather patterns, just typical trends, moving up a little bit. It's not that drastic of an increase. Any questions on page 4? Page 5. Salaries and benefits basically remain about the same as this current budget. Supplies projected to increase, what is it, $100,000? Some of that's just, actually the 100,000 right there in purchase of electricity. And that's where we purchase it from LCRA. But if you'll notice, like for Kurt, I know, if you notice that number there, the purchase of electricity on page 5, if you go back to page 4, that number, the fourth from the top,
Right.
they're exactly as a wash.
Right.
And
Okay.
then the number above that is our revenue,
Okay.
okay?
Gotcha.
So you'll see those two offset each other. At the bottom, contracted services, distribution system improvements, budgeted 325. Dolores, we can get into a little discussion here on this, I guess.
Yes, that is going to be, we have a distribution system improvements bid on our agenda today. That's gonna be it's gonna be improvements of, it's in two phases, phase 1 and phase 2. The west feed reconductor project along the interstate, not interstate, railroad tracks 90, between 90 and the railroad tracks. And then there's gonna be some poles and supplies included in that. And later on, there'll be a rebuilding of the elementary transformer station. But that's not in the bid that we're gonna be looking at today. But that's what that 325 is.
Though I think they said they were gonna be working on, well, phase 1 is this.
It's broke down to
Yeah.
2 phases. There's one phase starting, and then this second phase.
Okay. So that's why that money's in that line item there.
So there's not gonna be a capital deal, that's gonna be just a regular
Yeah.
budget item.
Um, Page 6,
Well, the franchise fee is going up because of the rates
Right,
going
the
up,
rates, so
so
yeah,
that
and that's 10%
increases,
of
that's
the,
pretty good increase there.
Lois, do you remember what the 425 transferred out to the general fund was?
No,
Don't remember what that was. for.
transfers to the equipment.
But yeah, so that's from electric to general. We transfer 360, 340, 320. So this will transfer over the last 3 years. Page 7.
Would that be excess, or is that what that is,
No,
or is
that's-
that for something usually?
The general fund can't support itself. So, use the water, sewer, and electric fund will support the
Okay,
general fund for projects.
makes sense.
You're back on 7?
Page 7, yeah. Again, administration expenses, from last year, this current budget to the proposed budget, it's like a $4,000 difference, so slight increase there. $2,000 on the bottom, so the grand totals are down the bottom there, which match that first sheet. About $300,000 from the current budget to the proposed budget. And a lot of that will be then the projects we have for the electric distribution system. Any questions on electric? I guess we can look at this, if you want to jump back and forth, we can look at this little summary sheet here too.
What page is this on the sheet?
This is like
This is loose one.
The loose one,
That one there.
page 1.
Got it.
So down the bottom where it says electric fund expenses on page 1. So transfers from the electric fund to the equipment fund will include $35,000 payment on the new mini bucket truck that was financed for 3 years, 5 years at 3%. And also transfer out $46,650 for the new digger truck that we got. And a note that we had, what Dolores talked about is $325,000 for the new distribution system improvements. So that's phase 2, and then also some things we buy every year, transformers, poles, and other supplies. So I guess we can jump back to the packet, the large packet. And page 8 is just the water sewer rates. again, we're scheduled for base rates to, meter rates to go up $1.
There was talk of maybe doing a filterization versus all the chemical that we use. Is that still maybe something we might be looking at into?
That's not for this year, but it's for the future years,
Gotcha.
yes.
I just wanted to know
Yeah.
if that was still kind of wanted to be looked at.
Yes,
Very good. Thank
we
you.
are.
Page 9 is the summary. Obviously, we budgeted, with 100, revenues are 102,836 over expenses.
In the expenses under contracted services, we budgeted for a new water aerator for the wastewater treatment plant,
Page 11,
yes.
where was that at?
So, almost at the bottom, it says 80,000,
What number on the left?
Oh,
So
there
it
you
makes
go.
it easy for us to find.
80,000.
No, on the left.
513,
On the
84,
left,
845, 575.
Okay.
There we go.
And we need to do that. We had one break down and they had to replace it. They didn't replace it, they had it repaired and they put the, it back into service. But we have no additional ones unavailable right now. So we do need to purchase one plus a motor. We need to get those on hand
Have
in the next budget. Yeah. And then the capital funds on the next page, 12, the transfers, there is 120,000 is what's budgeted for this year. And we're working on the water line project, which is, some of that is coming out of there.
Do we anticipate any other water line projects for right now?
Small ones,
Okay.
small ones, but not big ones.
Okay.
You know, some repairs of like fire hydrants and stuff like that.
The fire hydrants, educate me on this. They just have like an expiration date, basically, they need to be changed out, or how does that work?
They do, they've changed them so much where now they pop off instead of the
Oh,
ones
really?
that they screw. And they're just making them easier for the guys to work with.
Sounds good to
So.
me.
Some of them, when you open them up, they leak everywhere.
Yes. they do.
Much
And
comes
that's
out the
what a lot
bottom
of
and
them are
comes
doing
out the
now.
top.
Yeah.
No, I just didn't know what the protocol is exchanging those out. That's why I was just wondering.
A lot of times, I guess, the seals in the bottom fail, is that right, Roy? And-
Yeah, the water runs down the street all
Yeah, they start
everywhere.
leaking out the base.
Or whatever would make the job easier for the guys that put out the fires would be better, I think.
Obviously, we're touching them more than they have in the past years. On a
Flush
daily-
Right.
them, and
No.
On a
yeah,
weekly
yeah,
basis,
you can
yeah.
flush the system.
Yep.
There's one over at the clinic that's, has backwards threads.
Backwards.
Yeah, if you try to cut it,
That gets you every time, right?
yeah, it gets you every time. Instead of closing it, you open it, and instead of opening, you closing it.
When you're in a hurry, it kind of messes with you, ain't it?
No, somebody did that on purpose, I don't know.
Yeah, they just kind of age out, basically. A lot of ours are, I don't know the years, but they're pretty old, right, Roy?
Oh, yeah.
And I think when we'll put them up for auction, if there's ones that don't go back out into the field.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
they do. Some people like to put them yard decorations or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, Mike implemented a painting system where they paint certain fire hydrants certain colors, depending on the quality of it and the water flow. So that's been taking place in the city.
Good.
So that's happening.
Yeah, if you're at the bottom of the hill, you're in good shape. If you're at the top of the hill, not so much.
Not so much?
Yeah.
Where are you, David?
I'm just looking through to see if anything sticks out.
Yeah, 13 and 14 are pretty the
Yeah,
same
pretty
as what
standard.
he's
They
done
haven't
in the past.
Jumped up, yeah,
Nothing.
no. Actually, some things went down a little bit, but yeah. Um, Yeah, I think everything's pretty much
Yeah, but-
not the same. Actually, overall, if you look at the grand totals, actually it's gone down a little bit.
Right.
The proposed budget is down a little bit by,
You're on the water and sewer fund?
On 14?
yes.
Gotcha.
yeah, 15. So the water and sewer department kind of divided, the water department and sewer, and they pretty much opposite each other as far as administration or whatever. Is done in one firm, is done in the other. We split it 50/50. One thing, if you go back to this little handout here on page 2, James was saying that in the future, George, you might know a little bit more about this bar screen and rake, that at the sewer pond, we're going to eventually need a new bar screen, which I guess filters all the trash out of the sewer, before it gets into the sewer pond, and a rake, which then, I think it rakes that off of there to keep things moving and keep things out of the ponds. He said we need to, in the future, select one that's of good quality. There's several out there, but we need to select one of good quality that's going to work. And I think $200,000, is that what he said about?
Yes, whenever those, there's some of the plants that when they kind of start growing in there, they take that bar screen and rake, and they just push them over to the side so they can get them out of the pond. It's pretty neat. And it's helped our, ponds for him to manage them. Keep in regulation with TCEQ.
We talked about the aerator, the ponds on the aerator.
Right.
Bar screen and rake, that's in the budget of the expense budget or?
No.
No.
No. To replace it is not,
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
It'll be in the next
It's
one.
kind of like, just something to think about,
right,
and then,
because of our water project this year.
Doris, he mentioned something to you about a meter, a water meter for a well, 10? A flow meter?
A flow meter, not a water meter,
Flow meter
yes,
for well 10?
to measure how much,
Flow,
yeah.
okay. And that was something he said too, that we would need in the near future also.
Isn't that monitored on this system we have here that,
The SCADA,
yeah,
I don't know. Flow
not the
meter.
number
It's-
of
yeah, I think
gallons, I
that's
don't
more of
think.
the tanks, right, the pressure
Right.
in the system. Yeah. That. Equipment fund? I guess we'll go back to the big book. Revenues are projected to be over the expenses by $173,000. Again, it just depends what year to year, what vehicles we're going to purchase. Probably gonna be more discussion on that, right, Lawrence?
Oh, yeah,
Vehicles, things,
there
okay.
will be, probably when we
so
look at the
are
spreadsheet.
we making a transfer
So,
this next budget into there? Yes?
so every
Yes.
quarter I transfer a fourth of what the general fund owes the equipment fund, what the solid waste fund owes the equipment fund. I divide up into quarters, and then I make their payments so that they come whole at the end of the year as to what each fund owes.
But we're not stuffing any cushion in there, nothing? No, we're just replenishing.
Well, and plus the
Well, we're doing-
3%, well, some of them are 5% and 3%, yeah, that's the revenue you get. I guess so on page 17, you can see what everybody's paying back.
depending where the vehicles are purchased, you know, for, they're paying back to the equipment fund.
Page 18 starts the expenses. The only one expense is the golf course shed. Louis, do you know, this is a proposed project, correct?
Yeah, it's a new golf cart shed that the golf course may be interested in. It's not a for sure, but they're thinking. And since it's on city property, we finance it. We don't charge them any interest, but they span it over so many years, 10 years, I think the last one was, to pay back.
I think
You know,
we
the city.
discussed that. I think they-
Pardon me?
I think we discussed that
Yeah,
shed.
y'all approved,
Yeah.
well,
We
the
did
first
one.
one. We
Oh,
did
okay,
one.
this is the second.
This is the
Okay.
second.
So, other than that, no other major vehicle purchases coming up or proposed for next year?
Well, there has to be one, David, because there was a police car that was ordered last year, put on order for this year, but where is
We
that?
get before September, you think? I don't know.
But we don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think you know if it's gonna come
We
in or
don't
not.
know
Huh?
until he gets here.
Tahoe,
We don't know. But we placed an order for ones, at least to make sure we have one coming eventually.
Do we have any old units that are just obsolete that we can help out? Oh, there you go.
This year.
There you go.
We'll go
I'm
through
sorry, I'm
that
jumping the
after-
gun.
Yeah, we'll go through that.
I'm sorry, I jumped the gun on that.
Yeah.
Well, he hadn't
I
looked at that.
apologize.
You're right, you haven't looked at that yet. That's
Yeah,
nothing wrong
no.
with that question.
And the, like I said, the cart shed, something to think about.
I don't play golf, but I think that brings a real nice thing to Wyman.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of people like it.
Yeah. Just because I don't play doesn't mean we don't need it, you know?
That's right, a lot of people do.
You can't be selfish.
It's real positive outlook.
Yeah.
but- So you can go walking there on Mondays.
Right, there you go.
Is that to build a new one or replace an old one? Do we know?
Build a new one,
Build a new one, okay, good.
additional one.
But I guess they're probably running out of room.
Because the last time we took down part of a shed
Okay.
to put the new one up.
Oh, that's right, you
So,
took probably 2 buildings down and put one back.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some pretty bad ones over the years. They're falling apart. Dangerous, actually couldn't open the doors and things. Okay, the next,
I
let's
need to
just
see
want to look
that.
at each vehicle you could look through. Those are the ones we're currently financing. Page 26 will start the long-term debt summary. This isn't on our little thing we're supposed to do from quick capital improvements. I just threw this in here to show you all where we are in our debt. That's the 2015 certificate of obligation. Making progress on that.
What page are you on?
27.
Okay.
Oh,
That's what I thought.
I was off on that one too. I was looking.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
And what's that on, the 2015?
This, we took out a $2.4 million certificate of obligation for various projects,
Water and sewer
water
projects,
sewer projects, and.
water tower.
Yep, that's the amortization schedule for that. So we're getting almost halfway. Then page 28 is just a summary for that, and just capital improvements there. I guess we'll go into the details on page 30. So the revenues on page 29, interest, we projected $1,000. It's probably gonna be better than that. We got some, moved some CDs around and got some better rates. So I'm sure it'll be better than that. transfers in from the general fund is 170,000. Transfers in from EDC is 200,000.
Do we have anything that's gonna come up to be renewed that we can check better rates?
Not for a while, that's 6, 7 months.
Okay.
So that's the revenues and expenses. Louis, I had, the first expense after that was a water well construction, and I think we all talked about water well number 11. I don't know, I don't remember, was there, it was going up for grants on that,
I was
right?
trying to get a loan
A loan, low interest
with
loan.
forgivable grant
Yeah.
from Texas Water Development Board.
So we put that in there, but I don't know if that'll ever come to fruition this year or
I
not.
know they submitted it, but
Wasn't it based on the economic,
Yes.
on the, like a survey of how many
Low.
Right.
low-income
Yeah.
people we
And
have?
that was completed, and it was submitted. I know the first one was submitted. Now, when they, I think it's maybe August, September, that they notify us whether they want a detailed budget. You know, so it could be, you know, coming up. But Bethco was working at that, and they got that completed. I know they submitted it.
You know, but that's always something that we can agree to or not.
Right, exactly.
Just, that $1 million is there.
It's just,
Yeah.
Notification wise, right?
it's something that's probably in the future that we're gonna have to be considered that expense somewhere. And it's gonna be more than that, but,
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, considerably.
And just because it's in the budget, don't mean we're gonna.
Right,
You
precisely.
have control of it.
That
There's
was-
smaller items, office supplies and things like that.
That was
But,
my point.
these big items, yeah. So that was that project. The water line repairs and replacement, $200,000. Louis, did you give me specifics on the water line project?
no, I don't. On that one, I don't. On the future, no. I just have the one that, the 245. I don't think they've determined. I know there's some lines that he wants to increase.
Yeah, and EDC was going to, that's right, EDC was going to, on the revenue section, EDC was going to transfer over $200,000 to help with the water line projects.
With that one up there.
Yeah.
So the 245 that's unbudgeted now, that's what's going on Summit Street, that's what they're doing right now?
The 345 is the one that's going on right now.
Okay.
Wasn't it 345?
245.
245.
245, is it?
okay.
It could be right.
846. Oh, page 30.
It's 30?
Yeah. $245, yes. Oh, that was the reconductor I'm thinking about.
That, and then, street project.
350.
Tell me what the street project was, because it's like, Mike was saying that what we budget for next year pays for this street project, and then we're not gonna have one, but I'm kind of in the mindset of, we need to put it in the budget, regardless of what year it's finished, so that, we have the funds there.
Well, this-
You first?
I
Go ahead.
think, well, I think we need to put something in the budget. I mean,
Because he did not
we don't want-
plan.
yeah.
He did not plan for it, I know.
Again, once,
We don't have
we
to.
don't have to.
That's right.
Right.
What, there was some conversation about going back
To
to
quarterly, I mean
Yes.
quadrants.
Quadrants.
quadrants, yes.
It's just because I still see streets, especially this one, because it's been retopped or just, I mean, you almost lose and I don't travel fast.
Well, you don't know
You
what's
do,
gonna.
there is a spot in there where your truck almost, like your wheel falls off. And
Well,
and
wow.
it may not be as random. It may be more of an organized process than a random process.
Well, as we get droughts, things crack from underneath. You never know what's
No.
gonna fall through.
Yeah, well.
We're gonna have a leak somewhere, you have to tear something out.
We can talk to you more about road stuff now. We have somebody sitting at the table with us.
Yeah,
Yeah, but there's different mindsets.
Well,
One
it's
is to
just-
look at the quality of the roads and just do the ones that need it most. But then some roads might never get repaired because other ones need it more.
they travel, I mean, I don't know, we used to work the quadrant sections, and you didn't go and do every street in that one. You went and looked at which streets needed to be done, or what maybe
All the
drainage
workers were
problems.
in one area
Yeah,
for
and
a month or whatever. Yeah.
So, you know, if you were kind of tearing up streets, you weren't tearing up some over here, and you have some over here. That one year, we had streets that were gravelled, and, I mean, it was, people were like, when are they gonna fix these streets, you know? Plus, it's gravel, it's dry, you drive over it in dusk, it's everywhere.
Glad you brought that up. If you go over there, right by the water tower, there's some streets worked on, and then right across the street also. And they're putting gravel in there, or caliche like, and when you drive over it, it just dust goes everywhere, and you end up losing it.
Right.
And my question is, if you're gonna, I know you're gonna top it, but they make bag mix that's a temporary patch, it's a patch-all.
We have done it.
We ought to be dumping that stuff in there like, you know,
It's called.
If
They had-
I could just say just a little bit about that
yeah.
caliche that you're talking about.
Sure.
So I did roads for 3 years. If you don't put that base in there like that and let it get runned over for a couple of weeks, and you put that quick mix basically into those holes, or even on top of that, it's gonna eat it out and then it's gonna crack. So then when you go to really top your highway, it will never be sealed, never. The heat or drought, and it shifts and moves and vehicles going across, especially on Northeast Street, it's a busy roadway. I promise you, it will only hold temporarily, and then it'll break the bottom, it'll break the ground out.
You need to put lime, you put lime down.
Now, lime you can do.
You put the lime down, and then you don't need to
Limestone.
put as much base, you put some lime,
Yeah.
and then you put the bag mix. Keeps it dry, it doesn't sink as much.
Well,
But
yes.
that's, you know, anyway, I'm just saying that if we're gonna have a project that's gonna be stuck like that for several months, we need to put a bag mix in it.
That would make sense, yeah.
But I think we should do something for street projects, just so we
Yeah.
have it. We don't have a project, we don't, but let's not skip it,
Put it in the budget, if you don't use it, you don't use it.
yeah.
I agree.
Well, that's about it.
30 more, do you have anything to?
Just make a street
Louis,
project,
you
hundred and
talk
thirty-two
about
thousand.
other equipment from the general fund?
Just the police departments.
Yeah. Did you want to think about that now?
We've got the police department here, they're trying to go through things over there at the police department, and they're finding that they need a lot of equipment, a lot of different things. They want 3 vehicles, but I'm not sure we can buy 3 vehicles.
So
But-
we're on the hook for the one Chevy Tahoe.
Well, I don't think we're on the hook, we don't have to, but we've
It was
spoken
on
for it.
order, yeah.
Yeah, we need to speak for them because they're so slow in coming in. We, the equipped vehicles.
But
So-
that one's already been budgeted and approved, or no? It's just been,
The one on order.
I think Mike had it. Do you know where it's at, David?
I think we have to do that general fund.
It's in the first one we did the last time. I bring mine.
I didn't remind you.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Are we planning
There was
on
one.
kind of, I guess I need to ask the police department. Are we planning on maybe grounding up things that that are obsolete, things that y'all don't need? And, you know,
Yes.
I shouldn't say dispose of, but auction off, maybe get some funds back in so we can recoup something for y'all nice, you know?
Yes, we have several vehicles, 3 of them right now that really need to be replaced. They have a lot of models. We're gonna have major repairs.
I don't think they're gonna be
We've
worth
had-
much.
And this sheet here, y'all all have this here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all need to take some time to look at that. That's a pretty nice.
Then I can just go over this. When we put a name, an officer name to the vehicles, it's not, it's just a rough draft. Dolores
Steven.
went
Steven.
something on that.
Steven.
Okay.
Come join us.
Sorry about that.
Oh, we could hear it from there, but, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we have it listed here just with an officer's name to a particular vehicle. We have some new officers, so we attached those officers to some of the older vehicles, but those older vehicles, again, they need to be repaired.
So where there's.
I mean, we're gonna have major expenses with the vehicle.
2012,
Yes, the 2012 Chevrolet, that's actually Tahoe, or should be,
That's a Tahoe.
yes.
2012.
What's the,
Dalton Lee, Officer Lee, he's in that 2012 Tahoe. Officer Allen is in the Caprice. The Caprice should be okay for right now. They put a lot of money into the repairs with the Caprice.
What's the 08 Ford right above it? Don't have anything. Is that a vehicle or is that a 08 Ford right above Allen's vehicle?
They could not find any expense on that.
Oh, the 08 Ford.
the
Do you
Ford,
need Fords in
what's,
service?
No,
Any Fords would be.
no, we don't
Crowley,
have a
Troy.
2008 Ford, Officer Jones. I don't know why, yeah, but
No, that was, this
We
is
didn't-
probably erroneous.
That might
Okay.
have been the one I crossed off and she didn't get it.
Okay.
Because
I
I think all the
checked
convicts are
that.
gone, we don't even have one in this city.
That's the one that's parked.
in the 2000 and,
It's in
let's see
busy.
here. Page 4, we have a 2002 GMC.
Yeah.
That's actually abandoned property, which when it's sold, it needs to be sold because it's
Oh,
pretty well shot. I mean, I guess they could put a new gas tank. Anyway, it needs to be sold.
okay.
And that money would go into probably the general fund.
so,
It wouldn't go to us because it's not a forfeited vehicle.
Right, okay.
so I ask this all the time, but I bet I'm gonna get a different answer today. The Chevy Silverado that's parked, can we do anything with it at all?
Where is it parked?
It's no longer over there. I had it
No,
moved.
but your question is, we can't,
Yeah.
it's not our vehicle. It
But,
is
I mean,
the police
well, I know, but can y'all do something with that vehicle?
Yes, we could sell that vehicle and that would have to go into the forfeiture funds for the police department.
Yes.
And
Y'all
we have 2 vehicles pending forfeiture right now at the police department that if they're awarded to us, that would go into,
Y'all can buy supplies with that, right?
yes.
That's what I wanna hear.
Well, I believe
We
originally.
can't buy,
Y'all were gonna pull like that ATV with that truck, I guess.
the ATV, yes, that's initially what we had, and then the ATV and that's a whole nother issue. ATV ended up going to Public Works, and we looked at that today, Sergeant Jones and I did, and it's not in good condition.
Don't want it back.
And- What's that?
You don't want it back?
Y'all want it back?
Actually, I mean, I think that ought to come out of someone else's fund.
Okay.
That's my feeling about that, so.
Wow,
Okay.
okay.
so
It's been there for a while, and it's been,
Can the truck be used for something?
yes, we could utilize the truck for some things.
'Cause I believe
Travel
that-
back and forth to work,
You know, that 6.0
an
is
investigator
good.
type deal,
Good motor.
put your evidence stuff in the toolbox, go to a crime scene. I mean, it could be used for other things than just beside missing, with the Polaris for missing people or other things like that, or bailouts, illegal bailout, And that's what it was intended for, the truck and the Polaris, was when we were having all the bailouts and stuff like
Are
that.
y'all needing another Polaris?
Do we need another
Or do y'all
Polaris?
want another Polaris?
It'd be nice, but we don't have to have it.
of you said 3 vehicles need to be replaced, so I'm guessing that one that Officer Lee is driving?
Yes, Officer Lee,
The chief?
Officer Allen, and Dolores has seen the chief's vehicle. Yeah, the chief's vehicles.
Yes.
It needs to be definitely replaced.
Pretty
yes.
bad.
And Snyder's.
Snyder's vehicle is one of the older vehicles also.
That is old. I thought we had newer ones. Oh, here they are.
So,
Adam.
my question is, we talked about this before. Do we need to, well, we need to probably be asking what y'all want or feel comfortable driving. Is it an Explorer? Is it a Charger? Is it a Tahoe? mean, the
I
Tahoe's.
like the Tahoes, but I'm open to Ford Explorers. That's in,
I've done a
Sergeant
lot of
Jones?
research, I've done a lot of research on vehicles, especially in my past department. When the time comes, I can fill you up full of so much information on what vehicles fit, where some are better, where some are worse, and everything like that. What's good for pursuit rated, what's good for, patrol and everything like that. So when the time comes,
Yeah,
I can give y'all a whole.
I'm interested to hear that, make sure that y'all get what y'all want.
Ford Explorer is
Yeah, this
a lot
is
cheaper.
probably good.
Yeah,
And they're good vehicles.
big time.
They're good vehicles.
We got away from Fords when we didn't have Ford, we stuck to Chevrolet and.
Tahoe versus Ford. Tahoe versus Ford, you can buy the Ford Explorers a whole lot, I won't say a whole lot cheaper, they're about $5,000 to $7,000 cheaper. Where it can get expensive is if you do the EcoBoost in the Ford Explorers, and that's the turbo. That will add about $7,000 to the Ford Explorer. Upfitting and everything, it depends on the upgrades that you are gonna want. You can kind of customize your upfit to where you can take some money off of that line. If you go with a split top vehicle, you save about $1,500 just on the light bar. But if we're talking, apples for apples on Ford Explorer versus Tahoe, the Ford Explorer is all-wheel drive. It's a lighter vehicle, and it comes in a 6-cylinder, which is a good vehicle. You don't necessarily need an 8, so you're going to save a little bit of money on the fuel expense also. On the Tahoe, you have a heavier vehicle, heavier chassis. Your fuel tank is a lot larger, but you're gonna spend more money on fuel because it's gonna take it takes more power. You only get really an 8-cylinder for the Chevy Tahoe for the police rated vehicle. As Explorer, you can go a 6-cylinder and it just as good, possibly a little bit better than the Tahoe itself. In room, like if you're talking about cabin-wise for officer, Ford Explorer actually has more room up front for driver and passenger, same amount of room in the back for the partitions, the prisoner, everything else like that, and you still also have your cargo space. So you don't lose a whole lot of room whenever you go from Tahoe to this.
I'd be interested to get one of each and
And
see what
try.
y'all like and see
Yeah.
what works and go from there. I mean, that's just me thinking out loud. Because if you want 3, well, do 2 of one of each, see what works best. That could be your third one there.
We don't want to get them all at one time.
Yeah, we already got one on order.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we do this like once a year.
So do we need to add, do we want to add another, I don't know, do we plan for another one for next year? If the one on order was already budgeted and approved last year.
I see
What's it like?
42,000
Yeah,
last year.
I would think we almost need to.
Just at
Why
least.
don't y'all draw up what y'all want and then bring it to us and then we can make a decision as far as what it costs and talk about it.
Because if we put one more in there, we'll have 2, and then,
we
once we
budget
get
one
caught
more.
up, we can kind of start
Well,
rotating.
we always
some
wanted to
out.
stagger them.
We
Right.
always did, yeah, and
Yeah.
they look like they're all,
About $7,000.
And we should be stuck
I
with
guess we'll
They don't
mess
the
this up.
position we're in right now.
We were assuming we were
I
gonna
always
get
thought
this
we had one
Tahoe.
every year that we were
right,
getting
and
rid
then
of.
we got behind.
We got behind somewhere.
Somewhere we
That's what
must
jacked
have.
us up.
Hey, everybody, we had like 5 conversations going, okay.
So if we do 2 to catch us up, and basically at the same time, we have a Tahoe and Explorer, we can then see what kind of path we need to go down, if it's worth the savings or not. I mean, that's where I'm thinking, let these officers that drive them every day see how they feel about it and compare notes and bring it to us and
Then
make a
we also have to-
decision.
We also have to look at warranty on it. Some manufacturers have a better warranty than other manufacturers. That's where Dodge comes in to actually be better. Dodge overall, it has a better warranty than Chevy or Ford. Like I said, I could fill y'all's head full of so much information. And if y'all are looking at cost-wise, you could buy 2 Dodge Chargers for 1 SUV. So if y'all are looking at just replacement value, getting a sedan you're always gonna come out cheaper. Baseline on the sedan is $25,000, to where baseline on an SUV, you're looking at about $40,000 to $50,000 right now. So,
Something to consider.
Well, that may be something to consider.
In Cavender and Columbus, is that Dodge?
Yes.
it's
Yes.
Dodge Ford.
Can you still be buying Cavender?
It's all one brand, so it's kind of works out well. That's up to, I think, the PD, y'all kind of bring it to us, and then
What, Stephen, what other, in addition to the vehicles, what other equipment do y'all need?
Right now, I mean, there's, and I was gonna go into this later, but we haven't done a inventory, I mean, there needs to be an inventory done of the entire police department, but there's quite a bit of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of little things, like equipment, evidence kits, to spikes, additional spikes for vehicles, cameras, yeah, all that stuff. I mean,
Traffic cones.
there wasn't
Fire
a
extinguishers.
report of inventory.
flashlights.
Wasn't being done.
Yeah, right, I mean, we're left right now with inventory of only what Sergeant Jones has done on the new recruits. There's not even an inventory sheet on myself, and I had one before. There's not inventory sheets, there's, we discovered that today. There's a blank folder for the chief, blank folder for me, blank folder for a past officer. We have an inventory only on the new officers right now, and a little bit on you, but it wasn't
Very small
completed.
amount.
Yeah, and then on Officer Adams a little
We
bit.
went from, whenever I built the new inventory sheets, we went from a half-page inventory to a 3-page inventory.
And this is just talking about the officers' equipment. We're not talking about issued to them, not what they had in their vehicle. That's a whole nother inventory sheet.
Is there any of these vehicles that we might get rid of, or are they just in that bad of shape that we wouldn't be able to use it for?
Well, they're all
The
probably
fire.
being utilized right now, I would imagine.
No, but I'm just saying when the new one comes in for,
John.
that position over there, yeah.
Jones.
No, the one behind it.
Oh, John. I'm sorry.
Jonathan, I'm sorry, I couldn't think of his name. Is there something, because of the vehicle he has, is quite small? I mean, I don't know, what is that
It's a
vehicle?
Colorado, ain't it?
It's a Colorado, yeah. Would there be something, I know we take everything out, but would there be a vehicle that, one of these that might be suitable for him to use? Maybe it's not.
It
all,
it
but-
could be, but again,
Not
you're
until
gonna
we
run,
get one.
you're
No.
gonna have lots of repairs on that
Oh,
vehicle
okay.
for him. I mean, if
So we
that,
would.
Well, how about the police truck?
No, well,
It's
that's
a-
theirs, he can't give that to them.
yeah, that's
That's
forfeiture
city.
funds, that's a whole
Oh,
different, separate.
I'm sorry, I'm
yeah.
just trying to,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
The city
there's
can
not
buy
really
it.
anything very salvageable that,
For reutilization, no. Because of the amount of miles that Jonathan will be putting on and everything like that. But that doesn't say that the vehicles that we have that we would be retiring, when they're sold at auction, that money could go to purchase a vehicle for Jonathan as well. Because as long as we don't buy it under forfeiture, it can go back into the general fund.
Right.
And it can be utilized. And the way used vehicles are, the return value on a used vehicle now, even on a Chevy Tahoe, you're probably looking at about 7,500 to 9,200, at auction. So that would easily, selling a couple of those vehicles would easily put a big dent, if not
pay for it.
Yeah.
pay for Winter Jonathan.
okay.
Makes sense.
As far as vehicles go, so we put $80,000 in the budget we're working on for a new vehicle for next year?
I would think so, I would say let's try to
Whether
get,
that's 2 Chargers or 1 Tahoe or 1 Explorer,
Right.
whatever it is.
I think put it in there.
Can I suggest something else? I don't know, I'm fairly new to the city, so I don't know how the city likes to purchase, especially when it comes to their vehicles, if they like to do a program to where they can pay it down. I do know of a program that you can pick 3 or 5 or 7 years to purchase a vehicle. It's pretty much an automatic, as long as you're an incorporated city, it's an automatic loan that they give you. with my old city, I bought 5 vehicles that pay one payment a year, and that one payment a year is pretty much the equivalent to buying one vehicle. And they spread it out over 3 years. And if you do it in a 3-year process, or in a 3-year loan, then you still have the, technically you have manufacturer warranty for about 5 years. If you do that, you have 2 years still under warranty, to where if anything goes out, then that.
Extends out.
It extends out. By year 4, you can start redoing that process and keep rolling through. Never spend any money whatsoever on repairs, because you're always under warranty. There's always gonna be under manufacturer warranty. And you're really only purchasing one vehicle a year with that one payment, for the most part. If that's something y'all are interested in also, I can bring it forward and whatnot. So, there's multiple avenues. I have done a whole bunch. Like I said, I've done a whole bunch of research on this.
I think we ought to try to budget for 2, but really, that sounds like maybe what we should be, maybe we should look into that and see. Because like you said, you pay it off in 3 years and you still got 2 years of warranty. Well,
Right.
you're gonna start thinking of the following year what you're gonna do with it, so.
If we're gonna keep the truck, I will ask one thing, can we at least badge it to look current like the other police vehicles?
Yes,
Is it,
it is.
is it,
I'm
it
thinking-
looks so
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Is it,
It
okay, it
is,
looks so
yeah.
different because it's not Tahoe. it
Yeah.
is. It kind of throws
Caught me off, yeah, I was like, something
No, it
changed?
just looks really different, so, anyway, sorry.
No.
Kind of like the city manager's truck, I'd like to see badging, Weimer badging on that thing too, so people know.
I'm just gonna, the first page here, the 2006 Ford, Juana's, that's the Escape. That's actually forfeited vehicle, that's Juana's using.
Okay.
That's who's you?
Juana, yes.
Was that purchased though, David, from the police department? Or were we just
I
using
think
it?
we're just using it.
She probably just got in it.
It's gonna be worse than the Ranger when we give it back to you. I'm just saying.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Appreciate it.
So we said 80,000 for a vehicle?
Yes.
80?
80 is fine.
80 or.
Yeah, and like I said, if we kind of go with Officer Jones'
And we don't have to run the.
info.
We fund all the way down to nothing, so.
Right.
We can do that too.
At least be prepared for it so it's not a sticker shock, I guess.
And I'm curious too, Stephen, for what other equipment
Yeah.
you'll need, once y'all get inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause we
Radar
don't,
guns
we're
and
not finalizing
everything.
the budget today, so we've got plenty
Yeah.
of time to
Yeah.
add things.
It's not even August yet.
Huh? Yeah.
Can you bring something about the inventory, of what y'all need by next meeting, you think?
Yes. That's just
What
what
else? Do you have anything else?
Where,
That's it.
We're at 5 minutes.
A month, within a month. Oh,
Yeah, we're finished.
Okay, no, then I think I'm done. Dolores, are you done?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we will retire out of this unit time.
Mr. Mason, thank you.
No.
Okay,
Thank
Good.
both of y'all for
come
that.
back in.
Yeah.
Oh, Dolores, put her chair working.
Guys, if you have, when you take this home and you look at it, yeah. You're good, you're good. When you take it home and look at it, if you have questions, ask David or Dolores.
Sorry, I missed
Yeah.
your name.
Ms. Dolores, I think this is the last year's deal. I didn't get any kind of, I get, that's it, isn't it?
Yep.
So,
we're in break?
You'll get a new one when we get them.
oh,
That's
it's
what
okay,
you
but it's
want. You'll
finished
get a new
out?
one, yes.
Got you. I'm
Yep.
sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Don't say,
Yeah.
watch your language.
language.
Oh, did I say something wrong?
You know,
We're
I'm just
still
letting you
live.
know that we're still
Oh,
live, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want it to get out of hand and
I
somebody
was
says
like, maybe I said something wrong.
No.
We're just not going to discuss anything that would be an item.
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh?
I said, oh, baby, you know we had him?
Huh?
My baby, did you know we had him?
Uh-uh.
I said, my phone is lost. I saved and now it won't open.
Oh, Lord, you pictures.
P&Z can't change zoning yet.
You have to
Make it
approve
official.
there,
Yeah.
yes.
Because it's a map change. Because it's a map change.
Oh,
Yes.
that was a town.
Well, it's, we approved the
Oh, my
map change
goodness.
later on, when I redo the maps, get somebody to remake them. But this is just, all zone changes have to come
Small.
over
Oh,
the
well,
county.
they're all small, but wait, they'll grow up
They do all
really
the work
fast,
on it
really
before
fast.
and make a recommendation.
So mama and
Right.
everybody's doing well?
Everybody's doing great.
Good.
You don't know night, day from night, but
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
I can't get enough of it. Oh, and I was gonna go over this with them, there he knows, and I printed this off, 'cause I was gonna make a print of this for you guys for the meeting for the
Oh,
fire
the
marshal side.
hydrant coloring?
But coloring, when Mike was talking about those colorings, and then your blackheads are anything 300, 400 GPM or less, your
Man,
reds,
my eyes have been so dry.
reds are typically 500 or less.
Yeah.
Normally, and I think Roy, I was gonna give a Roy on that. Then, I don't think we have any blues in Weimer, do we? Blue top hydrants,
Yep,
I think
So
the
there's
light
some-
blues.
1500 GPM.
I believe it's down by the hospital.
I've
Oh,
seen
you know what, you're right, it is. So that's a
I was gonna say, I've
1500
seen some
GPM
blue
hydrant
ones.
there,
Yeah, because of the,
going downhill.
right.
And then, I don't know if we have any greens, I haven't seen any greens.
Greens, we got
Personally.
one by our office. The green top,
Yeah, the tops are gonna be colored.
it's over there by state,
Oh, okay.
I think.
I guess I need to go. So as soon as I can get this iPad and get, once we get things on the roll, and I get this iPad and this E4 system, I can do all the hydrants for, well, y'all should have it too, right? On E4, they're all marked, what your GPMs are, the location.
I don't know if we have it on our map or not, you know.
Because Brent and I were talking the other day, and he said, well, whenever you get the program, let me know, but you can do each hydrant, what the flow is, large diameter hose, connections, the whole nine, or what's out of service. You can mark it on there, on your E4s, and then E4 should show it when you go to a call. It's a little costly, but, I mean, it's not bad, it's not that strenuous of a cost for the program, but it sure helps a lot. On both ends. Yeah, I was listening to the, did you hear the Tuesday's deal with the judge, and I told him he was reading the drought, deal.
Okay.
Yeah, the deal, we have a 616, which is a 75 percentile for Colorado County. I didn't think we were that dry. Birmingham normally talked about 500s, and they talking about 616.
Yeah,
Half the county.
I mean, I guess, you know, we getting back in that 100-degree weather, it's gonna,
No, and all weekend supposed to be, you're supposed to have a small chance of rain next week, but that's it, now it goes back to 100-degree days. Too much heat.
boom, boom.
Too much heat.
If I need to sign anything that I get out of here, okay.
Nothing. Oh, yeah.
Hey, you doing all right?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Do y'all get copies of this?
I got
Okay, I was
For
gonna say,
you.
I figured you had them, but I
Yeah,
brought just in
whatever we
case.
had before. If you want to give them out at the time, I don't care. But there, I did make copies of what you had presented.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
It's terrible.
I'm not gonna say anything.
Oh, both says you could.
I know, I want them to feel like they can say something.
Okay.
I'll get to hear it. I'll read. I'll hear it tonight when I
So which,
watch that. And I'm taking a cup with me and putting the cup on the door so I can.
Is Bo coming?
oh, that's this one.
Is Bo coming? No.
So I gotta do 9 and
His
10.
dad's in hospital.
I gotta do 9 and 10.
Yeah, public hearing, I'll change what I call it. Yes, I'm just gonna, I get to the bottom of the page, I'm just gonna walk out.
Okay, so whoever's, do they have to be signed up to speak on number 9?
Public hearing, anybody can speak, correct?
Anybody can speak
Yeah.
during a public hearing. They don't have to be signed. Do you want us to go get the paper?
When everybody gets, oh, it's happening.
It's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we need to get started.
John's
It's closing. He knows it's 4 o'clock.
he got the routine.
Okay. Let's rock and roll.
Did everyone get a chance to sign up as a guest, or if you want to speak on an agenda item? If not, I can leave the agenda item one back there in case somebody wants to speak on it. You can, because.
What?
Submitted a number of items that request to speak to council.
I know, but we couldn't put all those items on the agenda.
Okay, but I had no advice that none of the items were on the agenda. So,
Yeah.
like, just get to speak and these guys can't talk.
That's
Yes.
correct.
Yep,
That's
yep.
what I'll do.
Yeah, during the number 3, citizens presentation.
So where's the sheet?
At the door.
Right here by the door.
At the door.
He had a whole list. He had a whole bunch of them.
Okay.
So what did he want to do?
I don't know.
He said he needs to put them all of the items on the agenda. Truck speeding. We need to put it and we need to address them.
We can hear. I'll wait till Mark gets back.
Want the sheet?
I'll leave the one back there with agenda items, because somebody may come in a little bit later and they want to be able to speak, or I can just add their name on it, it doesn't matter. We'll make sure that they get signed up. Okay, good, we'll call the meeting to order Thursday, July 13th at 4 p.m. It's our regular council meeting. If everyone will rise, if able, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You okay?
Father, we come before you offering our thanks for bringing us together safely. Sometimes it's easy to forget that our safe arrival and departure is a grace from you. As we prepare for this meeting, we ask that you be with us. May our thoughts be led by you and our conversations be inspired by you. Help us put our own agendas on the side, seek your will and outcome for this meeting. Please grant us wisdom in times of uncertainty, clarity in times of confusion. Lead us to solutions and help us strengthen us as a group. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. That was an amen.
That's an A+.
That's an amen. Okay, I always want to welcome everyone. It seems we have good PR out in the community now that people want to come visit us in the council meeting. So I really appreciate the folks that show up, whether it's just educational or you have something that you want to speak about, concerns, issues, or just something that you want to reward the council and the city on. So it goes both ways. So again, thank you guys. So we'll move into the agenda item number 3, citizens' presentations and comments. In accordance with the Texas Attorney General's opinion, Any public comment that is made on an item that is not on the posted final agenda will only be heard by the city council. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made by city council. Okay, Mark, I think you are, Mr. Denman? Pardon?
I'm third on the list.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak in citizens' presentation? Okay, if you'll, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hear you back there, Ms. Verhoda, so if you'll kind of,
You can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
okay, introduce yourself if you would, so you're,
I'm Sherry Verhoda. I've lived in Weimar for 43 years, and I just want to say, I'm not going to say anything really negative or anything, but we live in a good, really good community. We've had some, we're broken in some sense, and we need to heal, and we need to be united in order to heal properly. And I know there's things that aren't right, but I hope that we can work through all this, and some of the stuff that's on social media is really upsetting, but I hope we can work together as a community and get things straightened out. That's all I have to say.
thank you.
Did you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, I did. And I appreciate that, loud and clear. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Okay, second person that was on the list, or maybe they just put their name on that list. Anybody else other than Mark? Mr. Downer, if you'll step up and introduce yourself. Thank you.
For all y'all that, I guess I'm talking to them, but y'all can hear me, can't you?
The microphones are on, so it should be.
Oh,
okay.
all right,
Yes.
very good. Okay, my name is Mark Dannemiller. I've been a homeowner in Weimar for a little over 8 years, a full-time resident for over 6 years. I submitted duly, more than a week ago, 4 agenda items that I wish to speak with, dialogue with the council, not just me speaking, but for some reason, although it had been received, it was not, the request was not honored, and I was also not informed that I was not on the agenda as request. That's a little upsetting. So the things I wanted to speak about were, one, the meeting time of this meeting. This meeting's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know how many of y'all out here have jobs that you have normal hours of work that go beyond this time frame. I can look around here, I think one lady on the council works at State Farm. You probably have office hours that are at 4, and another fellow works at Generations Wealth. I think he's got office hours that are in this time, so they got to take off work, and anybody here that works can't attend at 4 o'clock. For the last 6 years, I could only attend this meeting in July, June and July, because the other 10 months of the year, I'm driving a bus at 4 o'clock on Mount Osage. All right, so 4 o'clock seems to me an odd time to have a meeting. I understand that it used to be at 2, it was moved to 6, and they came back to 4. All right, I just want to, I'd also heard that our mayor hadn't received any comments that 4 o'clock was a challenging time for people, so I'm expressing it is a challenging time for people. Okay. That was item number 1. Item number 2 was the city pool maintenance. I'm a frequent swimmer at the pool. In fact, I was even a lifeguard last year for Adult Swim after all the kids went back to school, and we swam through the end of September. The pool water quality is excellent. The facility maintenance, not quite up to snuff. It's improved just recently, and I've made Dolores aware of some of the deficiencies, but that is a jewel of a park, and it should be maintained better than it is. All right? It's a disservice to have $1 million invested there and then let things go to decay. All right? So that's number 2 was the pool. Number 3, I entitled City Manager Dismissal Transparency. In my 8 years of being in Weimar, 6 years full-time, I've noticed, and my wife, we've noticed great improvements in electrical supply, water quality, street paving, city parks. So we see a lot of very positive things over the time frame that we've lived here. So there must be something that y'all know that we don't know that was so egregious that there was a dismissal of the city manager. And I would like you to be a little more transparent for the reasons behind that action. I was away in June, and I was looking at the Citizen and then the Weimar paper online and noticed in the headlines, first I heard of it, I was quite shocked to see that. That was item number 3. Item number 4, this poor lady sitting next to Milton over here, Dolores, she's got 3 hats on right now. She's the interim city manager, she's the city secretary, and she is the pool manager. That does no justice to any of those 3 or to her. All right? So the sooner you can get people in those other open positions, the better off the city will be. So I feel for Miss Dolores. I don't know how she sleeps at night right now. Okay, number 4. Oh, number 4. When we bought our house, it's formerly known as the Henry Herder House, okay? Over on South College and St. Charles. Lana had it in between us. We probably only visited the house on Saturdays and Sundays. Really tranquil times, low traffic, all sweet. We moved here. Then we got to see that South College Street is more like South College Speedway. I'll bet, honest to God, at least half the vehicles that come up and down South College Street are exceeding 30 miles per hour. All right? So one issue is the speed of traffic. Now, a couple years ago, Chief of Police did put that movable speed limit sign, speed detection sign out there, and that seemed to help a little bit, but that's been probably 3 years since it's been on South College. The most recent place I saw it was on South Street, but I don't think it's actually operational right now. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it around. So one is speed. 2, when you come from Handy Stop South, you cross the tracks, you hit Jackson Street, there's a sign up here on the right-hand side, and it says, no trucks. No trucks. So there's a sign on that end of the street. This sign's not honored very often. When we used to see large trucks from 2 local establishments going down that way, we'd call Chief. We'd say, do they have a permit to be on the street? And they said, well, once in a while, yeah, they do. Or if they didn't, say, okay, I'll contact firm H or I'll contact firm V and let them know, and that suppressed it. All right? But it's been a couple of years since we've bothered with that. So truck traffic should not be allowed, and there's no sign on the south side of the street, so if you get a truck that made a wrong turn and took the feeder road, Townsend Road, and they say, oh, how do I get back to 10? Oh, they come out to South College, and then they head north, right? Well, they probably should be turning at South Street, I suspect, but there's no sign to tell them no truck traffic. Now, one of y'all live on that same street. You might notice the traffic. All right, so it's the truck traffic, it's the speed, and the third item is the noise of some of the vehicles that come by. The noise would say either they got, is it called glass pack? Glass pack in the muffler system to make them sound like a real beefy engine. All right? Loud noise, and either they're speeding or it's just they have this mechanical device within their vehicle. I wish that we would adopt a noise ordinance, all right, in this city to suppress that. So those were the 4 items that I had attempted to actually have a dialogue with you all about in this session. I'm amazed that there was no information, that was not possible, but I appreciate the time you have to listen to me today.
Thank you, Mr. Mello. And you were heard, so you're good.
And y'all heard me?
Yes, sir. Okay, anyone else to speak in citizens' presentations and comments? Okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 4, approval of the minutes of the June 8th regular council meeting, the June 15th special council meeting, and June 19th special council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any changes, discussions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Motion carries. Agenda item number 5, report on financial statements. Mr. Mason, if you'll.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, if I could bring your attention to this little handout, it's quarterly income and expenditure report for the third quarter. Let me just go for it. Save some time, we'll just go to the last page, the very back page. The very, very back. There you go. This is the third quarter, we're expecting about 75%, that's our target. Revenues at 75.28%, expenditures are at 66.66%. So we're doing right about where we expect to be. I'll let y'all look through later on if you want to look through the different accounts. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But this is a moving target. If something's high, it could be that we've purchased something maybe in May or something like that. If something's low, it could be something that we haven't purchased yet that we're still waiting to purchase later on in this budget. So, but like again, it's a moving target. We try to get a snapshot of it, and we're kind of right where we expect to be right now. No questions on that. We can look at the council packet, pages 15 to 26. I'm just going to go over one thing on the page 15, the investment report. We realigned some of our CDs, got some better rates. Most of them are at 4.25%, 4.35. Prosperity Bank, done a lot of changes over there. Prosperity Bank, they're up at 5%. I think this week for new CDs, maybe 5.25%, I was told. So very good for our local banks. Most of our CDs are 7 months. And that's it on that page. I'll let you look through the other things. If you have any questions on the OT checks, we can answer those for you. There was no changes on the hotel motel tax report, no changes from last meeting.
Electric PD Civic Center, that'd be air conditioned?
Yeah, that's from Fayette
I
Electric.
think we talked about that before.
And how we pay Fayette Electric Services, that.
Gotcha.
Rose, please. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you, council. We'll move to agenda item number 6, approval of accounts payable and transfer of funds.
I'm gonna abstain from voting.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
have a motion and a second. If any additional discussion, changes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, agenda item number 7 is public hearings on zone change from agriculture open space to residential R1 for blocks 110 and 111, located in the 700th block of South Eagle Street, Titan Financing LLC, Davey Ivanishek. I will go into a public hearing at 4:22. Okay. And anyone is able, or you don't have to sign up to speak in a public hearing, so if anyone wishes to speak, they can step up to the podium, introduce yourself.
Nelson, can you repeat where those zones were?
Sure. This one is the block 110 and 111, located in the 700th block of South Eagle Street. That's kind of behind Stavenaw's tire shop, behind the hotel, and behind where Catfish.
That's recommended by P&Z.
Yes. I can say that in the, this is public hearing, I can say that. We'll look at that other piece. Does anybody else want, because I think Davey has a map that he wants to. Okay. Okay. Oh, if you'll step up to the podium, yes.
So, I want to understand the zoning request. It's to go from agriculture to residential?
That is correct.
So is there the intent that then it will be subdivided into multiple residential lots?
The intent I will answer it if I can. The intent would be for a subdivision, yes, sir, for residential subdivision, houses. Okay. Anyone else?
I got a question. Is that the housing project you're talking about?
So if you'll step up to the podium and introduce yourself. We're in a public hearing, so people have to know who's speaking.
My question is that the housing...
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm sorry?
Introduce yourself.
I'm Rita Rockby.
Okay, thank you.
I've lived here all my life.
Yes, ma'am.
That's been quite a while, right, Becky?
Yeah.
Anyway, what you're talking about is the housing project to be coming up, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have a couple questions in that field. Where's the water coming from? Where's the sewer coming from? And where's the gas coming from? Where's the point of entry to this place? And where's the point of exit on travel of going into the housing project and coming back?
Okay. We can address those in the next item if you would like, because it is a review and approval of that.
Okay.
And the gentleman that owns the property would be able to address that if you're okay with that.
Sure,
Okay, good.
no problem.
Anyone else? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing at 4:26. Okay, we'll go into, Ms. Rockbury now will be able to answer your question when I go into this piece, okay? Agenda item number 8, review and approval of zone change for blocks 110 and 111 located in the 700th block of South Eagle Street. This is the planning and zoning case number 042002. So, Mr. Davies, if you want to come up and introduce yourself. Sure. This is the gentleman that is requesting the zone change that has gone through planning and zoning. They have given their recommendation for approval to council, but we have to bring this up so we have citizens the right. They had a right to speak in the P&Z meeting, and they have a right to speak here as well because council is the final approval of whether there's a change or not. And if you have some questions, he would probably be able to answer those better than me because I'm not aware of where all those things are going to be. So if you're,
Right.
But you can give your version of what's happening first. And then they
Yeah,
might
so
want-
my name is Davey Bonashek, as Milton said, the owner of that property, and at this time, as of right now, we are more focused on, the part of changing the zoning from agricultural to residential so that we can start that process of infrastructure, all those good things, the layout of the lots, how many homes, all that good stuff. So to really have a solid plan right now is not I don't necessarily have anything at this time to show.
This is strictly to change it from
Yeah, zoning.
a zoning. It doesn't mean that there's an approval on a plat, there's not an approval on a subdivision. This strictly is changing from agriculture open to residential. That's all it is.
So I'm happy
R1.
to share what I have with everybody that kind of shows the map of where the property is, where somebody mentioned, Ashley mentioned, where the entrance would be, so on and so forth. So I do have a little bit of a semi-formal plan right now.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing here, here.
Yes, they are recommending, yes. P&Z recommended, yes. Yes. And that's all this is, has nothing to do with subdivision,
How he's dividing it or
any of that stuff right now. But if he's willing to provide that information, that's okay. That's what the plan is, but the only thing we're voting on today is changing it from agriculture to residential. That's the only thing. Has nothing to do with,
Yeah, his plot has to be brought
yeah.
later.
And you may have to reiterate that when I get out of here. So, okay with that.
So you would be the one building the subdivision, you're gonna?
Yes, yeah. So I currently do it now. I've kind of always done it part-time. I've had a subdivision over in Schulenburg that we've been working in. I never thought that it would work out here, to be honest with you. It was something that took me by surprise, and that's gone really well, so why would I not do it here? I mean, this is my hometown.
So
Yeah.
you're gonna do the infrastructure portion?
Yes, yeah.
Exactly the way, where the city's not gonna have to incur that cost, correct?
Right. I mean, as far as petitioning the council to pay for certain things, that's not something that I've even thought about, to be honest with you. So I'm doing a subdivision now where, I have 11 lots where they're 2 to 3 acre lots. I'm paying for the road myself, all the infrastructure. There's no, I'm not asking anybody to do anything. It's all financed by myself. There's nothing, so.
Do you have an idea where the entry is gonna be? Because Ms.
Yes.
Huckabee seemed very interested in that.
Yeah.
'Cause
So it would be down that road because that is really the only viable entrance at this time. On my piece of property, I do have a 10-foot section that is across the street from you that I would be no problem with donating that to the city to create the road to access the back part. So in my mind, there's no city ordinance on subdivision requirements right now. So depending on how wide the roads would need to be, I'm hoping that extra 10 foot off of the road that's there now would be able to,
Did we ever
work.
have an ordinance on
No.
subdivisions?
No.
No. There is one that is proposed, but it's never come in front of council yet.
And one good thing is too, is like whenever I do this, it's through an engineering company. It's not just me throwing things against the wall, seeing what sticks. It's Bethco Engineering out of LaGrange. Can't even say the name of the company out of Columbus. It's a crazy name, but yeah, it's all through engineers and it's civil engineers. And they had said that, look, they would like to work with the city to help start a city ordinance for subdivisions.
So do you have how many, I know you said it's, still in the works, do you have about a number of homes that you're
Yeah,
looking to lay out?
so I'm thinking 20 to 25, and the reason, on 6.5 acres, you could fit a heck of a lot more homes than that, but that is not who I am.
No.
So if you look at the lots that I have now, where I'm building the 2 homes now, city requirements are 50-foot lots by, I forget what it is, it's 5,000 feet, so, or 6,000 feet. Yeah. So on those 3 lots, where those 2 houses are, I could have easily fit 3 houses, but I don't think that that's what we want to see. And it's just a completely different kind of home that's built strictly for profit for a developer. I'm looking at, 8,000 square foot lots up to 10,000 square foot lots.
What's the price range on these homes that you're thinking?
Back when we had the P&Z meeting, I was hoping to be in the 200s, now to be in 300s. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there's just nothing you can do about cost.
Is your goal to build spec homes on all of them, or sell some lots?
That's a good question. Just with how tight inventory is on lots, I couldn't see myself selling any, but to recoup cost quickly, that is one thing that I've thought about. So if I had someone that was interested in 4 or 5 lots, yeah, I would definitely take advantage of that.
Ms. Rockley, did he answer all your questions?
Well, I still have the same question.
Mhm.
I have to have access down to my mom's house, plus a little further to the property.
Mhm.
And I know when the city is gonna come in and dig things up from past experience, I have no access. And that street, it's a street now.
Yeah,
Yes,
Never
ma'am.
was a street.
right.
It's never been maintained as a city street. It's nothing but a gravel road with a lot of holes that accidentally got tarred, so they had it paved.
Right.
So, that's what you're dealing with, and from then on, it's nothing but a dirt road.
Right,
So,
yeah.
what you do past that point, I don't care, but I have to have access to that point at all given times.
So I think that that would be a question, during the process for, again, I don't know how the city of Weimar does it, if we, how that whole process looks as far as access for that road as this is being built,
Right.
but
That's
I can't
why-
imagine a scenario where you would be cut off.
Right, that's why I'm asking, where's the water gonna come from? I know there's sewer on the far end,
Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
but there is no water, no sewer, no gas down that road at all.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's part of infrastructure cost. I mean, it's gonna have to be whatever it is,
well, that's why I'm asking. I have to have access all the time down to
Right.
the house, because I never know, it's gonna be 96 pretty soon.
Sure.
So, who knows?
yeah.
And it's,
And again, I can't imagine a scenario where you would not have access.
yeah.
I mean,
I would agree.
nobody would come in there and shut a road down and deny people access to their residence.
I know when they've been working on the other two, we were tied off a couple of days when they were doing, putting water and sewer in, I guess, over there.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm asking.
Sure.
Anyone else?
As far as putting out, whatever the hell you want.
So it appears on the preliminary plans
Mhm.
that the access would be from South Mechanic Street. There's no access from Eagle Street or from Townsend, correct?
Correct.
So I understand, I also suspect that a residential area has potential for greater tax revenues to the city than agricultural land, correct? Is that
By far and away, because agricultural land doesn't provide any.
development of a residential has a good potential to bring rewards to the developer too, all right?
Of course.
That's why you do it,
Yeah.
business. Yeah. But that'd be a pinch point. There's only access at South Mechanic Street.
David, may I interject something?
Sure.
It's called the state of Texas. Here. The state of Texas will dictate.
Even in the
Eagle
municipal.
Street, Eagle Street belongs to the state of
Yeah,
Texas.
Eagles, okay, what about Townsend?
It does.
Townsend also.
Now, for Townsend, where the EMS does not, but the service road does, that belongs to the central government, the state of Texas. They are very picky.
My civil engineering view on this is a single point of access is problematic.
You can come on, Charles.
Yeah, that's why I have those civil engineers designing that as we speak. Yeah.
And they know.
Again, it's not me doing this, it is civil engineers doing this.
You know, I understood.
I'm not smart enough to figure all that out.
So one more question, sir.
Sure.
I don't know, that's all I'm asking.
Mhm.
I was under the impression you weren't gonna have access to 155. Or that's still,
So there is an easement that I own. I don't know that TxDOT or anyone would get really excited about me putting in an entrance to a subdivision there, just because of kind of what you're saying is, there's far too many driveways and exits right there to where they would not likely allow us to
there's a
use
50-foot
that.
easement on 155 all the way.
Right.
Where the old poor places that was Calvary Baptist Church now, that always
No, it can vary, yeah. So if I could use that as the access point, I would prefer that. It is something that we can look at, but again, we have to lay out the subdivision to look at it once it's, where does everything go, how does this fit? And if we could possibly use that, I would love to have that.
Me too.
But I think that it's highly unlikely.
Now, all the houses you're putting up, they are gonna be for sales, they gonna be rented?
Yes, no, I can't do rentals, so no worries there. Yeah.
I'm your dad.
No.
Now, find out.
I'm not a buy and hold guy. Or build and hold.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I ask, where's your subdivision in Schumark?
Foster's Branch, have you ever heard of that? So it's out by the high school. It's a good story in the fact that, it was considered a failed subdivision, but it's because only investors bought the lots. So everybody kind of stood around looking at each other going, well, hey, when is something going to happen in here? But only investors owned the lot, so nothing happened and everyone perceived it as a failed subdivision. Well, I went in and bought basically every lot they had, put up houses and sold every one of them.
That's not the one by McDonald's, is that the way it is?
No, not that.
Okay,
I wouldn't do that.
okay, all right.
Yeah,
That's Harvey Homes.
yeah.
I think it's a good idea, Woody.
Everybody good? Okay, you're good. Okay, this is an action item, so I'll ask council if they wish to make any motion on to the acceptance of the blocks 110 and 11, 110 and 111 located at the 700th block of South Eagle Street. Planning and zoning case number 04-2022. It's here because they have given their blessing of it so far. And again, it is just strictly changing it from agriculture open to residential, nothing more so far.
Make a motion.
I think everybody in Weimer's wanting more rooftops, and I'll agree with that. I want to see Weimer grow in a very positive direction. This land already sits inside the city limits. Davey, Mr. Vonishek came and said exactly what he plans on doing. I think he's going to do what he says he's going to do. Went to school with him.
That's your second?
Was that
That's
an
my second.
official second? Okay.
I wanted to explain myself.
Well, I didn't want to assume, okay. I have a motion and a second. It is open for additional discussion. Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I'll scoot this over to you.
Okay, item number 9, I'm gonna open a public hearing on the zone change from agricultural open space to residential R1 for block 98, located at 503 West North Street. And the hearing is open at 4:40. Anyone wishing to speak?
Yeah, Laura, I was. Like everybody. Randall Jones, y'all don't know me, I live on 404 West North Street, and my mother-in-law lives around the corner. As you just heard a presentation that was very professional, had it already drawn out, what they wanted to do. He was the buyer, he's the developer, and he knows which direction he wants to do, and he's going to be using an engineering firm. Now, I was in the zoning meeting on this subject we're on right now. Very vague. The person, Milton, is going to sell this to a developer. My question is, where's the developer? Why isn't the developer here? So is Milton profiting? Not say it to his face like I did at the zoning meeting. Are you making this price go up so the developer has to pay more money because you got it rezoned? Are you using your position as mayor to get this pushed through? I had big issues with this. Plus, we were given a preliminary plat, which is not done by an engineering firm, but he said he would produce one later. Again, where is the developer? The developer is not here. Why is not the developer asking for this change? Why isn't he not buying this? Well, it raises a lot of questions, guys. Again, who are these people? Who is the developer? Is it an investment group, like the investment group out of Schulenburg, that tried to push this through before for substandard housing? And also, he made a quote, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, somewhere between $400,000 to $600,000 for a home. Yeah, your home's a $360,000. Okay, you look at that. You know, guys, and Roy, you know this, I do this for a living. You cannot build a home for less than $250, $300 a square foot. Well, that's without the land. I mean, that's just a home. So what kind of home are we going to have? Does that price that he quoted to us in the zoning meeting, does that include the land, or is that just the house itself? Because that's a hell of a house. So, and also, we have a big question about coming off of Cypher Loop into that subdivision, which I'm totally against. I don't know if anybody who lives over there is for it, because of the traffic and the other issues that it brings. Right now, like you said, in front of your house, I have a racetrack. You wouldn't believe the people that come around my corner, and one day I think they're going to be in my yard, but they're not there yet. So there's a lot of issues here. I want to know who the developer is. Why is that developer not here? Is Milton trying to profit off of this and making the price go up because he got his own residential? That's unethical, and I told him in the zoning mission. I do not have problem telling him this to his face. And I told him, and probably the people there, that I'm watching you, could be turned into be very unethical. So that's my stance on it. I think it doesn't need to be done. It's not coming across properly. Because before, he tried to sneak something through on us. Tried to get just the address of Gromans proved as a residential 2. And if you looked at the address included all 13 acres. And we shot that one down. So I have big issues, guys. Where's the developer? Where's the money? Where's it coming from? And also, there was a lot of, that property was bought by an individual of a buying group out of Schulenburg. The next day after they bought it, they conveyed it to Milton. It doesn't smell right, guys. It doesn't smell right. That's all I got to say.
Okay, do we have anyone else wishing to speak? Michelle?
Michelle Caith. I live across the street from Milton. I brought notes this time. This has been 5 years that we've been dealing with this. That's why I brought notes. A lot of what Randall said is what I was going to say too. It's been before that. There was also tried to make it commercial, then tried to sneak in the R2. It's just a mess. The whole thing. Back up to before he got the property. Part of the reason that we moved there was that land at the time was owned by the Gromans, and the Gromans had never wanted that to be developed. And we knew that, and we wanted a place to raise not just our kids, but we kind of want to be there forever and the grandkids. We are in my grandparents' home, but when we moved here, we did look at other places. We didn't just move there because it was my grandparents' home. But that was a wonderful neighborhood. Kids grew up riding bikes, jumping in mud puddles, which is when I look out the window now what I see the neighbors' kids doing, love it. It is a little loop there. It's part of the reason we moved. It's in town, but I watch the sunsets and I see the cows and goats. I know I'm spoiled, best of both worlds, but that's why we chose to be there. When we sat through the planning and zoning meeting, I was disappointed because I felt like we were given a 10-minute speech of being chastised for being selfish. We had more than 10 people from our neighborhood there, and we were called selfish for not thinking about the betterment of Weimar. I'm not against change, but how is it selfish for people who specifically chose to live there and pay our mortgages to live there to be selfish? This is where we chose to live. This is what we wanted, kind of the best of both worlds. Didn't want to live in the country, wanted to live in town. I mean, that's why we chose there. That doesn't make us selfish people. We still live, work, all this in the community. The 300 to 600, I've heard from someone else that was told 600 to 800,000 was going to be the price range on these homes, which we know nothing about, but yet it's being sold to the community as affordable housing. That's not affordable housing for people who are going to live and work in Weimar. If it is, I'm not working at the right place, because most people, young families with children, are never going to be able to afford a mortgage on an $800,000 home. I know what my mortgage is, and our home is like an eighth of that, so that's not realistic to me. And my biggest part of all of this, where I think a lot of us have come from, is it's been a lot of manipulation, a lot of not truths, and that part of it is what makes it all sketchy. Let me see. Oh, yes, we're on the north side of the neighborhood. We have a lot of issues with the water. I just don't see, part of this property's in the city, part of it is not in the city. There's drainage issues, there's groundwater issues, there are electricity issues. I think that infrastructure of the city itself needs to be improved before we go and do whatever we're going to do on this land. That we'll have to sit and listen to and deal with for the next 5, 10 years, however long. I don't know how long it'll take to develop all of this. The whole thing from the very, very beginning, when the land was flipped to him because they wouldn't sell to him because they never wanted the land developed, has been shady. And it's time that we brought all that out. I know a lot of us have been sitting on that, but it's time to bring it out. It's time to think about this. Who's profiting? All he's going to do is sell the land to make a profit. I know that's what people do for a living, but the whole thing has been sketchy. We love our community. We're all wonderful people, love Weimar. That's why we're here, want to see it grow. But it is our neighborhood, and I don't think we're selfish for standing up to want to keep our neighborhood what it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else want to speak in the public hearing? Okay, if not, I'll close at 4:49. Item number 10, action item, review and approval of zone change for Block 98, located at 503 West North Street. Planning and zoning case number 06-2023.
I make the motion we table this. I don't want to be caught with something unethical I don't know about. The person doing the subdivision isn't here to speak. We do have water issues and infrastructure problems in that area. I believe we owe the city of Weimar to rectify those problems before we move forward in that area. So I make that motion to table at this time.
We have a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Can we revise the motion or make a next second, or a different motion, not a second to that motion?
Well, if there's no second, then we can open it up for another motion. I'll ask again for a second. If not, we have further discussion.
So this is in no way approving a subdivision, it's just moving, just like we did on Mr. Bonashek's land, from agriculture to residential, so it has nothing to do with, I mean, nothing's happening on that property until a plat is approved, right?
I don't want to vote for something that,
And
that's,
And Milton's not in here to answer this, but Milton's requesting this because he's the landowner, correct? The developer can't request this change, correct? Because doesn't own the property?
I'd still like to hear from the developer instead of, that's why I wanted to table it, because I think it's,
I think
Unethical.
before any plat would ever come to any of
It
vote,
would have to be changed.
it would have to be here, but it has to be approved before they.
Davey bought land and had it approved. Why doesn't he sell it now and then let the developer approach us instead of him? That's where I'm at. That's the unethical part of it, that I don't want to be involved with, nor will I.
Can I say something, just as code enforcement, with the permitting scenarios in this building? Kurt is exactly correct. The same thing we just did for him, and I'm not going around the bush for nobody, but what I'm saying is the same thing we just did for him, I've just done all the work with him in the houses he just built, okay? All they're asking for is just to change it. There is no plot, there's no homes being built, there's no, now you're asking about the developer.
Well, what you're camouflaging here is you buy a piece of land,
And
farmland.
the owner of that property
And-
has to ask for permission to change
I
the property.
understand that, but when you have farmland that's not residential or commercial,
Correct.
it's a lower price. Once it's changed, Milton can sell it for more money and that's profiting. I don't want to be part of that.
I understand, but then you can't also develop anything on property if it's agriculture.
What I'm
You have to
saying
get
is,
it framed for residential.
my opinion is, if he wants to sell it, he needs to sell it to a developer the way it is. Let the developer, like Mr. Bonashek did, come.
Mr. Bonashek owns his property, that's why he was here asking.
That's right.
Can I say something?
So, all I'm saying,
No, I want to say something.
all
Well,
I'm
he's
saying
not through
is,
yet.
all I'm saying is, there is no plot for house building,
No.
but if y'all want more roofs in Weimar, Texas, y'all got to let go, okay? Like you said, this is just simply to be able to have more residents on this property, even if infrastructure is first. It's just allowing, whatever he profits, that's not my business nor anybody else, I don't think. But what I'm saying is, this is just to allow it to even be a thought. Then you have the homes come in, that's fine at a later date, but then work on the infrastructure. But at least that land will now even have a shot to have residential homes on it.
It could have a shot if somebody else bought it and came before us.
Very well, could be.
But would you buy that land, Stephen, if you didn't know, if it wasn't?
Mr. Bonashek
I
took a
know,
risk on
and
it,
Davies built houses on a part of it already, because it didn't need to be.
but he took a shot at it. I mean, he bought farmland. Did you not? Thank you. That's it. Go ahead.
Well, the problem is, he's gonna, and the gentleman, he's not, who bought the old Cypher house? He was very deal, he said, so you're gonna get it changed to a residential, then you're gonna sell it and up the charge and make a profit. So are you using your position as mayor to make that happen?
Is there proof of that?
Nope, but it sure looks like it. You can say proof of whatever it is. But again, I go back to what Michelle said and what I said. Things happened in the past with this, they're pretty shaky.
To who?
Do what?
To who?
What do you mean to who?
I'm just asking.
Go back and read the minutes where he tried to get land changed and come in there and put a multi-substandard subdivision in there.
It's his
Okay,
property.
that's correct.
His property.
But,
Y'all wrong.
sir, I'm not wrong. Now, because what he was trying to do was get just that acre by Rollins changed, okay? But if you change, because of that included all 13 acres. So if you change that 1 acre, all 13 acres changed. That was not presented, not brought forward, or anything. You weren't here at that time.
No, sir.
So you need to rethink your strategies there at your tactics. So you don't know the history on this. I don't have a problem with all that Davies did. I wouldn't have a problem with what Milton's doing. If he was the developer, and he bought the land and did it. So, but previous history of what he's done, tried to push through and sneak through, and that's what he did.
That's your opinion?
Okay, Okay, so that's.
So anyway, that's what
Okay.
my point being is, yeah, I hear what you're saying, we need the land, we need it developed, but let's go about the right way. Where is the development?
And I agree, I think before any plating would ever be approved, before P and Z or us as council would ever approve that, that development would need to be here to talk about that.
Well, then the developer can, but it's not approved.
Okay, so it's still in action, and we didn't have a second on the first. Is there
I make a
another?
motion that we approve the zone change from agricultural to residential.
We have a motion,
Second?
and we have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed? It passes. Now we can go get the mayor.
Jonathan, would you go get the mayor?
Ma'am?
Get the mayor, please.
Okay, we'll move to agenda item number 11, discussion and award of proposal on city's electric distribution reconductor and repairs Phase 3 project. Dolores? Okay.
Okay, this is the project that we have bid out, or got two quotes from two companies to complete. It was bids, there was a bid from AMP of $140,578.86. And then it was Techline for $139,620. And we would recommend going with Techline for the $139,620.
Because I know they've done a lot of work for us.
Yes.
I make a motion that we award the city's electric distribution reconnector and repair Phase 3 project to Techline Construction in the amount of $139,620.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. It's open for additional discussion. Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We'll go to agenda item number 12, discussion and designation of officer employee of city to calibrate the no new revenue tax rate and the voter approval tax rate for the city.
This has been done for the last couple of years. We designate a certain person with the city that represents and figures the tax rate. The city manager in the past has always been appointed by the council. So it depends what, if y'all want to appoint me to do it this year.
I would so move.
Second.
No discussion. I have a motion.
Second.
Who did?
I did.
Okay, I didn't hear. You got both?
Yes.
Okay. Any additional discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next agenda item is executive session, but I'm going to ask council if they would let me jump down to city manager's report because these folks might want to be in here to listen to what Public Works has to say, the police department, code enforcement, and library. Because what we have in executive session is basically just going to go in there and figure out who they want, if anybody, to be interviewed for police chief and city manager, I think. So that's not going to be brought out into the public who those people are, so I'm just jumped out if you guys are okay with that. Very good?
Yes.
Very good.
Okay. So we'll move to agenda item number 14, city manager's report.
Okay, so the fence at the park has been completed. The College Street water tower fence has been replaced and completed. We are going to be doing a new fence around well number 1, also under the ARPA, the funds that we got to do water and sewer projects, and that's about $8,000. The water line project on North Summit Street has started. We've ran into some problems of lines not being on the maps that we're hitting. And so, but that is progressing. I emailed CenterPoint Energy concerning the project on North St. Andrew Street, where they have stopped because they have their gas lines too shallow, and they have to go in and replace them. I finally made contact with them today, and they told me that in 2 weeks they're hoping to get here, but for sure by August 15th, and that work will take 2 to 3 weeks. So hopefully soon we'll get started back on that project, with the street project there. And I already told y'all about the aerators in the the budget meeting, but we're going to be going out for an aerator for the wastewater treatment plant because we've had to use our spare parts already for the aerators that went bad. So we need to get a new one on hand with a motor. So that's going to cost us about $27,000.
So
And that's in this year's budget.
so we have budgeted? Okay.
We do. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think you're doing a wonderful job. We're lucky to have
I'm trying.
many hats.
You're doing good.
Public Works, do you want to do anything other than what you just did?
No, I think y'all do have the Public Works report from James. If y'all have any questions on that, we could maybe answer them, I think. I hope. But it's pretty explanatory. And then if y'all ready, then Jonathan can give his code officer report.
New Year's Steven. New Year's Steven.
Steven's next.
Police department.
No, it's in the wrong order. Oh, because there wasn't a report given. Did y'all get y'all copies of the police report?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, y'all have those.
we got those late. That's
Any
why.
questions about those? We've had numerous city citizen contacts on there.
Well, we appreciate that.
Okay. Y'all still like the citizen contact?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think that's.
Even with the businesses.
Right.
I think they've been very pleased.
And I don't know how many know, we have a new officer, Jimmy Schneider. He graduated with Officer Lee and Officer Allen. They went through the same police academy.
So he's like on a probationary period, or?
Yes, he's just fresh, about a week now in the FTO, field training.
Okay, so how long will that be?
Schneider.
The field training program, Sergeant Jones, you want to?
So our field training program is designed for a 6-month process. That's not saying it's going to take 6 months. That is based off of progression. If we see that they're progressing within 3, 4, 5 months, they can be cut loose early, but our field training process is a 6-month process. First 2 weeks, being in policy, reading policy, learning the strategies. Then we have 5 different phases. Each phase is 1 month long, and then the last 2 weeks is just coming back in to the lieutenant, myself, chief, and we're just kind of quizzing them, letting them, seeing what they knew and got taught out on the street, and then we sign off on them saying that they're good to go by themselves. So it's designed for 6 months. If it's not, like I said, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be a full 6 month. It can. If we go 6 months and then that last 2 weeks they come in and we're not comfortable with it as county staff, we can authorize remedial training in certain aspects. And then it can go longer as well. It can be shorter or longer, but it's designed for 6 months.
Good deal, thank you.
Yeah, we currently have 4 FTO, field training officers, and we've never had that before in the department.
We have one more spot vacant yet, or we're going to be fully staffed? Or we still have one
No,
more?
one more.
One more.
And then at the workshop, I mean, again, I believe that there needs to be a complete inventory of the police department. Same thing with an audit of the evidence room. I mean, that's just protocol when there's change as far as the evidence room.
I agree.
Whoever y'all decide to do the, I guess, the inventory of the police department, that's y'all's decision. I do know another department that will do an audit of the evidence room. So,
Mr. Lawrence, do we need to put that on the agenda to approve an audit on the PD? Because he's requesting one.
Do you have any idea if it's, is there a cost to it, Stephen? Do you know? We haven't really went into that.
I'd have to look into that as far as,
Let us-
there's an inventory of the whole police department, then there's also an audit of the evidence room. And, I mean, as far as the audit of the evidence room, I could tell you that you're looking at maybe $5 per item of evidence. Right now, I don't know what we have. That was
I think
not
that's
in our-
something that just needs to be decided that they do, because there's not, I don't think there's a major cost on that.
Or how many items are in that room?
We don't know right now.
Take a guess.
Really?
200?
Okay.
What do you think?
Yes, I would say probably about 200, 250 items, in it.
We don't have acts, or we don't go into the evidence room
Okay.
on
So-
the outside.
Strategically and normally, anytime that there's an administration change, the new administration calls for an audit on the property room. Just check and balance kind of thing. Protocol. It being Lieutenant Kobiak as the interim chief, he can call for an audit. However, how he wants to call for the audit, he can call for the audit. If he wants an outside company to come in or outside agency to come in and do the audit, that's one way to do it. He can designate 2 other officers to do an internal audit, one being an audit from computer to property room and vice versa as well, because when you do the audit, it's got to go both ways. So you have to audit your computer system and what's in the property room and backwards. So generally, anytime when the new chief walks in, he's probably going to want another audit as well, because he's then responsible for everything that's in that property room as well. Ultimately, it falls back on him.
Good deal.
I think we need to let them do an audit on it, because I don't want it falling back on
Right.
The new chief, yeah.
even Steve here,
We can do that. We have
Okay.
discussed it this morning.
Okay.
Good deal.
Any other questions?
You said 4 officers in FTO?
Yes, they're field training officers. We've never had, that I know of, 4 field train that's gone to the training to actually train the new officers. There's actually 4 of us that have been through the training.
Okay.
Myself and Sergeant Jones and Officer Adams and Officer Yanes.
That's wonderful. Cool. Thank y'all.
Just was gonna put names to it, though.
You thought,
Yes, yeah, the other side.
yeah. Okay.
Evening, Mayor, Council. You'll have my packet, or not packet, excuse me, my report in front of you. You guys have any questions, concerns? Still waiting on a quote from Schuster's for the AC repair at the Civic Center.
What did you find?
No, this is still from the last time that I spoke about the two ACs at the deal. Today, it's just the capacitor. I think the capacitor is no good on the outside condenser. So the inside's kicking on, the outside's not running, which means it's not cooling, so. I got a hold of James earlier. He was supposed to get a hold of Schuster's to come back out.
Usually those capacitors, that's pretty, that's just a.
Yeah, and it's common, when you get to the 100-degree plus,
Yeah.
and them things are running, and they get hot, they'll blow it, it's over
It's
with.
gonna happen.
How old, those units aren't that new anyway, they're pretty old.
They're pretty old,
Yeah.
yeah. There's one new unit on the, which would be the north end of the side, on the side of the building, to the north is a new one, and then the other three are all,
We're gonna pray real hard they stay intact.
yeah, well, the two that I'm waiting on a quote for are the two big units for the inside of the hall. And when I talked to Mike, when Mike was here at that time, one needs to be replaced for sure. 100%, I wouldn't, it's not gonna last us another year. And then, but while we're in there, the other one is the same age as that, so we talked about getting a quote for just the one, or change them both at the exact same time, because they're a dual system, so they're ran side by side, so it's easier to do it at one time than it is one now and then 6, 7, 8 months later do it
Well,
again.
if you do one and don't do the other, you're probably gonna put stress on the new one.
On the
it's-
new,
it's
and
just
the
gonna
new
drag
one
down.
the new one will pick up the slack from the old one, and then you'll just have a problem with your new unit. I've seen it, like I said, I've done it for 9 years. You take one new unit and leave an old one, and the new one's gonna burn
It's gonna
off pretty
strain it.
quick.
It's gonna wear it out.
So I'm still waiting on that. I haven't got an answer from Ben. That's who I'm waiting for
Okay.
on that. But other than any other questions or concerns? No? All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Ice. All right, got our report. Our wonderful numbers. We need some money. And our summer program was going strong. Can't believe it's gonna be almost over already. Just wanted to give a small report about the summer program. I don't have a report in front of y'all, but I will have a full one, try to do it next month when it's all over with. This year we ended up having 96 kids and 40 adults participate, so that's really great. So over a total of 136 participating in our reading program. Right now, I had a goal at the beginning of 75,000 pages to be read. Right now, we're holding at 58,000 pages, so hopefully we can continue. We're almost there. We've got 2 weeks, so I'm hoping they'll make it. And then another thing I'd let y'all know is that we will be accredited for 2024 for libraries. So we'll be
Yes,
noted
wonderful.
in the state of libraries for Texas.
Thank you for that, appreciate it.
Yes. Besides that, any questions?
Oh, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Doris, anything else on city manager's report?
No, except I did add the report for the swimming pool at the very end. We put in the packet for y'all, information,
So how long,
and that's,
what does that go through Labor Day?
no, probably mid-August. We're gonna try as long as I have lifeguards for Saturday and Sundays. Now, it gets a little harder. I know I have them through mid-August right now,
Yeah.
but I don't know how much further after that. But I'll see what we can do, since we're keeping our
Yeah, 'cause you start,
chemicals there,
you start sports and everything, so that's gonna kill
everybody,
you.
yeah.
We go back to college.
College.
And if the attendance, if we don't have anybody coming, they don't need to
Sit there.
be there. But I think Mr. Dana Miller is going to keep open for a lap swim in the mornings through August and September. No, September you stopped.
In October?
This year. Last year was September.
August through December.
When they can go.
End of September, that's what it gets pretty cold.
Yeah, that's right.
So we've done it for a couple of years.
Yes.
You just gotta jump in fast if it's cold.
Actually, y'all, I haven't seen any of y'all. You gotta come in sometime. It's a nice pool.
Oh, I've been there, but I can't swim laps.
So, that's good. The kids
Well,
are
thank you for
enjoying the
doing
pool. Yes,
Mark, appreciate it.
that's been great to have that. I
You
think
good?
that's it.
Okay, we'll go back to agenda item number 13, executive session under section 551.074, personnel, which is selection of city manager, police chief. And that will go at 5:19. Folks, thank you very much for attending today.